And I think it's time to kind of talk about what we know, as far as, let's see, we've got the characters down. And I think, Larry, this is when you're really going to shine for us because you really do know more about everything than anybody in a lot of ways.
No. Yeah.
It's like now. Keep saying it. So here are the characters. We've got Ella Purnell playing Gwen, Brett Gray playing Doll, Jason. Oh man, I should have thought of this before I read his last name. Mantzoukas looks very Greek. Jancom Hogg, D. Bradley Baker as Murph, Riley Alazraki as Rock Talk, and Angus Imrie as Zero. Real quick, Scott and Melissa, you guys were at Star Trek Day, and two of these people, Brett and Dee, were there. There may have been others. Larry, you were there too. But I was very impressed. I mean, obviously, when D. Bradley Baker did the voice of Murph, and we actually saw him doing it, it was really weird and shockingly talented that he could just kind of do that crazy sound. So everybody look forward to that sound that he makes. I don't understand how he does it.
Well, that's his thing. That's one of his things. He's really talented, but yeah.
Never.
He's the veteran of that. That's what this cast is amazing, because even apart from Janeway and having Kate back in is right. It's pulling back old fans, but that cast, there's everything from is it Riley, the young girl who her dad's in the business and he's a voice actor and producer, but this is her. She's young. Was she 12 something? And then you've got D. Bradley Baker, who's been around the block, and you've just got a really good mix of people there. Younger. It's a kid's show, and most of the characters are kids, and adults can do children, teen voices, but if that's their stock, if that's in their wheelhouse. But it's really an interesting mix. And then when you think about all the recurring characters, like the two John Noble is the villain, and then you've got Robert Beltran coming back and playing Chakotay with his own little crew. And I kind of think if it was holograms, they would steal from Janeway's thunder, but maybe it's a scenario if she needs to teach them with more than her, maybe she pops up a Chakotay crew, and or maybe it's some kind of long range, I don't know, but maybe it's a long range communication and they're for real. But they've got Beltran, and they've got all these, they've got what's his name? Daveed Diggs, from Hamilton, and Jason Alexander playing another Tellarite and a Tellarite doctor, and one of the kids is a Tellarite. So I've been griping for years about no Tellarite developed characters, and bang, here's two.
Finally, I didn't. So Jason Alexander,
they've been listening to you, Larry.
What?
I didn't know he was playing a Tellarite. That's cool.
He's a Tellarite doctor, which is going to be even, it's like worse bedside manner than Picardo. So we'll see.
And there was also the lady, I can't remember her name offhand, the lady from The Good Place as well, right? She's cast in this.
Jamila Jamil.
Yes. Okay. So Tellarites. Larry, can you tell us a bit about Tellarites and how much they like to argue, so that people, when they are introduced to Jankum Hogg, they'll know what to expect?
Yeah, well, I mean...
Oh, actually, you and I played a Tellarite.
I was going to say,
I didn't even make that connection until just now. We played Tellarites together.
We were horrible Tellarites in a dark flashback fragment memory. Yeah. I have the picture of us eating ham pizza as Tellarites, which was kind of strange. Yeah.
Oh, release that photo.
Yeah.
Where is that photo?
I'll have to put that one up. Yeah, that was like the second. That was the Lolani episode on Star Trek Continues. It was a sad flashback. It was it was an assault memory, but we had fun doing it, and we had nothing to do with the intent, right? We were just acting. We weren't really doing it. No, Tellarites were supposed to be one of the founders of the Federation, and they get even less respect than Andorians do. I mean, Jeff Combs finally. What Armin did for the Ferengi, Jeff Combs did for the Andorians in Enterprise, finally, but they didn't want to do Andorians for a long time because it was like, oh, they're just solid blue, like the Orions are solid green. But they finally, here's the challenge, make it work, make it look good. But it's like poor Tellarites with the pig noses and everything never got any love. until finally in Enterprise. And now the current show, Discovery and Picard, have thrown them in. And there've even been one or two that had some lines, but Harry Judge that I met a couple of times, he was like the token go-to Tellarite guy, whether it was just background or had some roles, had small roles, but they've never gone to it. So yeah, it's animation, but one of the young kids is a Tellarite. You couldn't tell it quite by looking at him at first. I was wondering, but he's Jaglam Bog. Yeah, and then to find out that there's another Tellarite character in the Chakotay crew is going to be an adult Tellarite.
Cool.
He's Starfleet, and this is a kid. So, and I don't know how a Tellarite got in the Delta Quadrant. So that's another thing that's going to be explained somehow. But
Melissa was asking how that he would get in there, and you're going to tell her, right? So
I was counting down. I was waiting for that joke.
Scott Jensen asks
I won't
Larry,
debate it with you. Yeah.
Scott Jensen asked Larry if you and I argued the entire time. And as you were talking, I hoped and I found the picture.
There we go.
Wow.
So that's Larry on the left, Ryan on the right, obviously, you guys. And in the middle was Kevin Frey-Bowers. Is that right?
Boy, it's a good. I'm glad you still have his name. I mean, I can find it. It's in the credits, obviously. But yeah, and we had I had done a Tellarite on Phase 2 on the short. They had done a really good one of Mike Westmore's Kevin Haney. Oh, I'm so glad I can remember this. Kevin Haney did the prosthetic face and those hands, and we did kind of a quickie Tellarite face. But those are prosthetic, real tri-digit Tellarite hands. And and I brought them, and they couldn't duplicate them for all three of us. So what was it? Or how did we do this? Anyway, I just remember like one of them was splitting really bad. So it's like we had one hand and we took turns wearing it, or I had it, or anyway, it was like so we'd like the side that was showing is this, like in that picture right there, you notice that like none of our hands are showing except me gesturing at the camera.
Look at We've got one hand, getting by. Another hand. You got this guy's hand.
He had some. They had a fresh one for the lead, but the two of us they didn't do hands for. I think.
Movie magic.
Yeah. That's why we were like passing around the hand to show it off.
That's why Tellarites always have their hands in their pockets.
See, I thought you were going to make a football joke and say, "Oh, there was a handoff over there."
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And you go right from that to pigskin, but then we don't. Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't there a Tellarite in Lower Decks too?
There's been, there was a captain. I love how in Lower Decks they have all these aliens that have totally Earth sounding names. Like the Tellarite's name was Durango. Like, okay. It's like the Andorian Jennifer, it's like, okay.
Yes.
It's just the texture of the show. But yeah, there have been some Tellarites. There was a Tellarite bar owner when they got in the Andorian, when they were playing Domjot. To me, one of my favorite lines the whole year on Lower Decks is when the Tellarite, but they're having the fight, and off screen, you kind of hear the Tellarite bar owner say, and they're playing Domjot, right? And he says, I just had that table rejotted.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah.
And yes, Anne-Marie, I was thinking about the Australian Tellarite too.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That actually had the big featured bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Australian Tellarite.
Oh, right, with the Gamados and the Magados and the Gamados.
Yes.
He didn't last long. Yeah. Little faker.
Hey, a quick thing to mention too, Sirach and I will be reviewing on the 7th Rule every Prodigy episode. And so Sirach's studying up on him. I could see the way like you're intently studying everything that's going on.
I'm studying.
And our first guest
making notes
tomorrow is Bonnie Gordon, who does the voice of the ship's computer on Prodigy. She also did scratch vocals for the Janeway character and for the Gwyn character as well. So she'll have a lot to tell us about. Everybody check that out. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Prodigy. And also check out Prodigy. What else do we know? I mean, those are the characters.
Well, I think it's we all keep talking about like a kid's show, and a lot of people were mistaking Lower Decks being animated for a kid's show. And then there are a couple of scenes people go, whoa, I wouldn't let my 5-year-old watch that. and that's a good thing, fine. But Prodigy really will be aimed for younger kids, 8, 10, 12, whatever. But I'm sure they're making it, two-tiered, where Trek fans, adults, their parents can sit down and watch, and they're making it canon. It's not like it's a blow-off show, so people should, watch it and keep up with it. But they're not going to dumb it down for kids. I mean, I'm really, and the Hageman brothers have done this already. I think they attract, like really good classic animation can attract people on different age levels. Just because you say it's a kid's show, it's not just for kids. So
Beltran doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would do something dumbed down.
Yeah. And Jason Alexander and Devi. I mean, I'm paying more attention here to the secondary cast than I am the main cast, but they're all good. They'll all it'll all have that. At this point, CBS and Paramount Plus and poor Nickelodeon, who I think was going to be the original, flagship, and then after the merger, they kind of lost. They probably put lots of. They still own it, but they're taking like an initial back seat. It feels like, until it's made a first run. I guess is the plan now, but they're not going to pour tons of money in and do a franchise, series if it's not up to snuff. So,
and Michael,
I think that.
Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I was going to say, I think that might be the thing. We say about adults versus kids is that, the kids are getting into the new characters that are played by younger cast, and they're younger people, on the adventure, and then the adults can get into seeing Janeway again and seeing Chakotay again, and catching up on their stories and relating to the adult legacy characters and stuff like that. So it's. It's got a neat dynamic that way about it, I think.
Looking for Easter eggs.
That being said, Larry, do you think there will be more adult items or kid items in this box when we crack it open in a little bit?
Well, since I cracked mine open and we just finally put the video up today. So,
so you've got an idea that it's.
I think it'll be a mix, just like the series. How about that?
Okay. And Michael Kenyon Rosenberg said, how about the Telluride? I missed it. What about the Telluride Film Festival? I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing maybe he means Telluride, which is a city in Colorado. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's, yes. Yeah.
Good reference.
That sounds like a lower deck. Yeah. Mike needs to do that on lower decks. Well, we're Captain's Log. We're en route to the Telluride Film Festival. Yeah.
Don't encourage him. Sirach, what are we looking forward to most about this new show?
I just want to see how it goes. I'm not really looking forward to much. I want to see how it plays out.
He likes to let it unfold in front of him with no expectations.
Yeah, I don't want to put any expectations on it. The one thing that I can say I see as a difference is that the contrast between the other animated show right now with Lower Decks being more focused on comedy and more about character growth and development, and this show seems to be about adventure to me and exploring. So I think the focal point is going to be more what traditional Star Trek in that sense, right? So they're going to give us some of that. The opening credits were there, or whatever they released as far as visuals. I think it's the opening credits, but it looks pretty awesome. The music looks good. The quality of the animation looks good. It does kind of take you on a journey to make you feel like you're traveling through space. So that is they're getting that, nailing that to me. But then the question will be, how do the stories unfold and if I'm interested in them? But as far as visually, as far as the music components, as far as, putting packages together, it's got all the right indicators. I just want to see if I care about the characters, if the stories are interesting to me, because they're going to be removing a lot of the humor that Lower Decks has that keeps it moving so fast. So this will be, I'm anticipating a slower movement as well. So we'll see how it plays out.
Here's a question for everybody in the chat. This is really exciting for me personally. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think will be Sirach's favorite character by the end of the first season? Because he seems a little skeptical, but I bet there's going to be a couple characters that are going to really shine to him. Is he going to be a Murphophile? Who's he going to really, really like? And dude, that song that theme song blew me. I think it's so good. I think it's really so good. And I really love the animation colors, how they focus a lot on like the magentas and the turquoises. And yeah, I agree, Sirach. It seems like it's adventure and wonder and excitement. You know, the things that Jedi don't go for, but we do.
I think the trailer is really exciting, and it makes me excited to watch the show. What I hope is that because it is a kid show, that they don't dumb it down because they're focused at kids, because kids are smarter than a lot of adults give them credit for. So I hope that they keep the storytelling fresh and rich, because kids can handle that. So but so far I'm excited to see what they're gonna bring.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I'm excited to see what happens with like the Janeway and Chakotay and stuff like that, and see. I think I'd mentioned before in one of the earlier shows when we were talking about it that it might be a chance for them to develop the Chakotay character a bit more, that he didn't get some justice he didn't get from Voyager. Obviously, it's not Chakotay centered show, but to be able to bring these characters in and maybe give them a little bit of stuff that they didn't get to have. Hopefully they do that instead of just bringing him in to say a couple goofy lines and then they cut to something else. It would be cool to see them, maybe like have an episode, right? This is the episode where we focus on Chakotay, and then here's another episode where we, bring in this other legacy character and bring some backstory or development, like what happened after Voyager, in any of that kind of stuff. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
We got a couple minutes left before I know Scott and Sirach, you guys have to go. But again, as usual, Dr. Muhammad Noor steals the show and says that Sirach's favorite character will obviously be Sirach Talk.
Oh yeah, Rock Talk.
I guess mine will be zero.
Oh,
I know.
Oh.
That's
Rock Talk. Yes, I like that.
Okay. And then also
Ryan feverishly looking for puns in there.
I was like, is there anything else? What else do we have? Kimber Spore says Murph and Gwyn. Chuck also says
what is Murph? What is that? What is that character?
He is
the Blob.
Hugh would love him and call him gelatinous goo. What was that line he said in All Good Things, Larry? In this
talking about this primordial
goo. Primordial goo or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't know what he is. I don't think yet. I don't think there's a description for him. Does anybody know? He's a Yaphet, I think.
I was going to say it's the big crossover with the Orville.
Yeah, the Orville.
Who would do such a thing? You guessed it, Frank Stallone.
I thought it was a beluga at first, and I thought they were really overdoing it with the belugas. What's with all the belugas in Star Trek? No, we'll see, I guess. That's a gelatinous blob. We don't know what it is at this point.
I hope they tell us. Anyway, there's some people in the chat I know got my Frank Stallone reference. That was, I know Michael did. That was on Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. Norm Macdonald, who played Yaphet, would always make that joke and say, who could do such a thing? You guessed it. And he'd show a picture of Frank Stallone and say, Frank Stallone. So I was giving a shout out to our buddy, Norm Macdonald. Anyway,
Cat, man.
It is.
Yeah.